Welcome to the Finance Marketing Podcast, a show that empowers finance professionals to market their businesses in ways that feel good and actually achieve results. I'm your host, Hillary. I've been working with folks in financial services to develop marketing strategies that work and create results-oriented marketing content since 2020. And I've learned a lot about what works in finance marketing, what doesn't work, and where financial services pros get stuck. Join us each Friday as we explore real, effective ways to market your finance business and connect with folks who truly embody your ideal clients. This week, I'm sitting down with Aaron Buchner, a financial planner who has completely reimagined what financial services branding can look like. Aaron is the founder of Cactus, a financial planning firm with the unforgettable tagline, "Prick-free financial advice." Multiple people in my network had mentioned Aaron to me as someone who is doing incredibly standout branding work in the financial planning field. So I just had to reach out and invite him on the show. So in this episode, Aaron is sharing his entire journey from having a completely generic brand, one that many advisors start out with, his last name, financial planning, so Buchner Financial Planning, to creating something truly distinctive that reflects his personality and attracts the exact type of clients that he wants to work with. And as Aaron puts it, money shouldn't feel like a punch to the gut. You've got enough stress already. His job is to transform your finances from your biggest headache into your secret weapon and maybe even make it fun along the way. So Aaron and I are diving deep into how he navigated the typically conservative world of financial services compliance to get his edgy branding approved. He shares practical strategies for building relationships with compliance departments, finding reasonable compromises, and sometimes taking the ask forgiveness rather than permission approach that has worked so well for him. He shares practical strategies for building relationships with his compliance department and finding reasonable compromises so that he can show up how he wants to show up, but without sending compliance over the edge. So if you've been wanting to inject more of your personality into your marketing, but worry about compliance pushback, this conversation will give you both inspiration and some practical steps forward. So without further ado, let's dive in. Aaron, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. It's midday for me, so I've had my lunch. I've had about 3 cups of coffee. I'm doing pretty good. So
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I am really excited to dive into your brand with you. Before we do that, could you just tell our listeners a little bit about who you are, maybe some of your background story, and what you do as a financial planner?
So my name is Aaron. We'll start with that. I'm a 40-year-old gray hair curler, go to rock concerts on my time off type of person. I've been doing this for, it's coming up 11 years now in the industry. It wasn't my first job. I was a consultant for Canadian Tire, so big brand company downtown Toronto. Got sick of the rat race, moved out to Kingston, Ontario with my wife and started a whole new job and career path in the financial industry. So that's been my jam of what I do. And then my practice itself is focused on financial planning as a whole. I don't do one-off sales, as I call it. That's just what I call it. I don't just sell life insurance or investments. I do the full financial plan, the full scope, and focusing on kind of people like me who are just a little bit off the wall, looking for something a little bit different. No real age demographic. I've got people who are in their 60s down to 20s, so it varies across the board.
When you started your firm, well, first of all, did you start out independent as a financial planner, or did you go work, put your time in at a big wirehouse firm first? What happened in the beginning?
I joined my mother-in-law was who I joined. So she was in the business. So I joined her for the first 5 and a bit years. Yeah, 5 and a bit years. I'm trying to remember when it all went down. When it all happened, about 5 years. So that was the initial understanding of the business, get a couple licenses, do all my education background, kind of cut my teeth in terms of all the background fun admin stuff you have to do on a regular basis and introductory to everything.
So then what was the catalyst for you going out on your own?
COVID, as fast as to say, was kind of the catalyst.
Hmm.
It was partly a lot of stuff. I blame COVID, but it was the direction in which I wanted to go was a little bit different than my mother-in-law. She still runs like a very successful business. Her business is very, very well known in our area. It was just I wanted to look more into the full scope financial planning aspects and broad out. That wasn't something she was too interested in. She wanted to kind of stay with what she was doing, which I understood. It was that. And then COVID kind of changed everything. I also then had a kid during COVID. So that kind of just triggered everything of, oh, okay, how is this going to do? And it was a lot of stress on my part where I was just like, you know what, I need to just figure this out myself. So I don't,
Mm.
it was, I knew I wanted to branch out and I wanted to do my own thing because it felt right to me. And then just kids at home and COVID and the whole industry changing digital, it was just, okay, this is the right time to kind of move on for
Hmm.
myself.
I think there are so many of us. I started my business in 2020, and I would be really interested to go and look at like some records of how many businesses were started in during COVID. I think it's probably just
Oh,
got to be astronomical.
Oh, it's gotta be. Like I said, the minute they changed everything, technology and industry was so far behind that you couldn't do this initially, and then they had to, and it's like, wait, I can just do this from home. Like, why
Yeah.
am I going into an office? I'm like, I can do this here, and camera, laptop, done, perfect. So I was like, why don't I just stay at home? And then
Yeah.
having the kid help, it was just a good excuse to say, well, I've got a new kid, and it's COVID, and we can't go anywhere, and we got to protect him. I'm like, now I really need to stay home a lot more.
Right. Right. Well, when you went out on your own and you started the business, did you know from the beginning that your niche, for lack of a better word here, was like you wanted to attract people that were kind of off the walls, as you said?
No. Oh,
Mm.
no, not at all. Because it was so abrupt, my phasing out or starting my own business, I just did what everyone else did. I think at
Mm.
that point, I knew nothing. I'm not a marketer. I knew nothing about marketing or what to do. So it was, I think the whole premise is, yeah, I copy what everyone else is doing. So I just kind of Google searched, looked at a lot of what everyone else is doing, what the big brands are doing, go, oh, okay, I can make a website like that.
Mm.
I didn't know what to do for names, so I just used my own last name like everyone else does and just called it Buchner Financial Planning. And I'm like, that'll work, and just build my own website and just kind of went what I had known for the last few years, which was just generic stuff, very generic advice, no real targeting anyone. It was just, oh, anyone who could fog a mirror, I guess is the way they used to say it. It was this
Mhm.
thing. It was just whatever I put out there, you fog a mirror, I'm going to work with you. It didn't matter.
How long did it take for you to make the switch? Because your brand now is so standout. I mean, I think that people, you say Cactus Financial Planning and people are immediately like, oh, that's Aaron. How long did it take you to make that switch, and why? What everyone else is doing, was it not working for you?
It was a long process. Like we're coming on, this would be, well, October, this would be second year. So that takes me back to, I'm trying to remember in my head, go back. That was 2023. Took us a year, which is 2022. So 2021, about a year and a bit into the business
Mhm.
is where I knew I had to make a change.
Mm.
And I think it was, I kind of had my midlife crisis, as my wife calls it, and I joke about it too. I read a lot of books during that time, read a lot of stuff on what do I want to do? What am I doing in the business? Because I felt like I was doing the same thing, like the wheels were turning, but I wasn't getting anywhere at all. So I
Mm.
was like, okay, what's wrong? Like, what am I doing? I looked at my website and go, oh, this is bland, like this isn't me, and I knew it. And even from reading books, it was, why am I doing this, and why am I enjoying this? What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? And I knew the brand and the business was nowhere near it.
Mm.
So it started initially with a coach. I brought in Kim Skirmer, a great friend I knew way back when I started in the business. She had then started becoming a coach, and I found her randomly on LinkedIn, and we reconnected, and she started from that and like kind of broke me down of, well, why do you want to do this? Who do you want to attract? What don't you like? What do you like? And we started out with that to at least get my focus on the clientele and what do I wanted to do. I think was initially the first stage. And then it became that process. Okay, now I need to rebrand and
Mm.
figure out who I am, because Buchner Financial Planning was horrible.
Mm.
I don't deny it. And just I knew at that point it was okay. I wanted to embrace my personality. I wanted to embrace who I was because I am the brand. So I knew I wanted to be different than everyone else. I saw the whole point of what everyone else did. And I'm like, okay, that's not me. I wanted to be out in left field. I wanted to be the odd one, go crazy, do something totally unique and different to stand out. Because I figured, okay, that's maybe my first standpoint against all the people in the industry is, okay, if my branding message imagery stands out, that's the starting point.
Mm.
So then even that, I reached out to a marketing team and had the whole long conversation with them. And even that was a year-long process of figuring all of this stuff out.
Okay. So let's talk about the brand. So the name of
Mhm.
your firm is Cactus Financial Planning, and
No, just Cactus.
oh,
No
just
financial
Cactus.
planning, no, just Cactus. Oh no, when we branded and I said I want a name, I remember specifically I told them like I do not want wealth,
Uh-huh.
finances, money, anything with money in there. I knew it needed I
Mm,
wanted something that was easily like simple that could be remembered, unique enough that but not unique in a weird spelling way that people couldn't
mhm.
figure it out. And it's like those are the
Right.
two things I had to do and don't put money or wealth or anything in there at all.
Why is that?
I didn't want to like for me was I didn't want to pigeonhole myself, at least with putting in the wealth or
Mm,
insurance or or like finances. Because I found a lot of people, it was the initial assumption if you put in wealth, it's oh, you just do money. That's
mhm,
all you do. You just do investments. But it's like, no, I do insurance and financial planning. And if I do the other side, they're like, oh, you just do insurance, you don't do this. I'm like, well, if I do financial planning, then they don't think I do investments and insurance. I'm like, okay,
mm,
so let's just get rid of it all. So then there's no that pre-assumptions of oh he doesn't do it. It's okay, well, what do you do? What's the initial
mm.
aspect of it?
Okay, I like so you like force people to ask you so you can tell them.
Yes, pretty
I love
much.
that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just about picking the name Cactus though, right? Cactus really doesn't work without your tagline also that is prick-free financial advice, right?
Yes, the 100%. The marketing company that I worked with of Mellow Brew Marketing, when they came up with the idea initially, and we went through a few different iterations and changes of things, it was the prick-free financial advice that sold me on it
Mm,
when they came with it. So initially, I think like every marketing firm, when I came with them and said, I want to do something unique and something different, they were hesitant because I know
mhm,
some of the first names were very basic,
mm,
nothing off the wall, out in the left field. There was one, but I wasn't quite sold on it. Like I liked it. It was different, but it didn't pull me in. Or it's like, it didn't grab me. But when they went back, they presented to me the initial of what the landing page would look like on the website and
mm,
put up the prick free financial advice. And I remember I just started laughing like right away. I'm like, I just cracked up and I'm like, that's it. Like, we're not like you've sold me. Everything was great. It's almost exactly what it looks like now on the landing page. I don't think we changed anything to it.
mm,
And it was like, that's it. That's everything. And then they said, oh, and the business name is Cactus. And I'm like, and then it connected between the two. I'm like,
mm,
that makes sense. Like, that's a
mhm.
great play on words between the brand and the line. But it's like, I could have picked any brand name and I would have been cool with it at that
Yeah.
point.
Right. So is that something that they came up with completely on their own or during their conversations with you when they were trying to figure out who you were and what made you different and why you wanted to be different? Is that a term that you had used, this term of like,
I may have, I don't know. We did a lot of talking, which is why I
mm,
love them. When we did the initial forum, it was I think we did like almost 3 hours of just conversations of who am I, who do I want to be, why do I want to do this? Like they really dove deep. I may have used the term prick in there at some point. I don't know. I possibly could because I would use that phrase one or the other. So I may have said it, but I don't think that's where they dove into it. I think they came up with
mm,
the idea. They told me the whole idea with them of when they were trying to think of finance and money, and they came up with, well, it's a prickly subject. It's a prickly
mm,
thing. They're like, oh, well, it's like, oh, so Aaron wants to get rid of it and have fun, so it needs to be prick free. And they're like, prick free financial advice and Cactus, and I'm like, that's perfect. And I would never have come up with that. I'm not creative enough for that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I just love it. So you said you immediately laughed when they presented this to you and you were like, yes, this is it. Did you have any trepidation or fear around going forward with this? Because I think there are a lot of financial advisors are financial planners out there who want to be different, but are also like, but I have to be professional. People are trusting me with their money. I can't go too far. Did you have any of that?
Yes, I think initially initially when it was presented to me, I didn't. I
Mm,
think the first time it hit me of, oh, what am I doing, was when it was, okay, what's the website name, was then the next initial thought that went through my head.
hmm
Because I was thinking, oh, we'll just get cactus.com, which someone already had, or I think I could buy it, but it was like $15,000. I'm like, I'm not buying Cactus for $15,000, like not
Right.
happening. So I'm like, oh, what do we do? And I went back to them like, what do we call this? Because I'm thinking that. And they're like, oh, well, we'll use prick free. It's available. I'm like, oh, so that means my email address is going to be aaron@prickfree.com and the website's going to be prickfree.com. And they kind of went like, oh God, am I
Yeah.
going too far? Like, that's when I had that shock of, oh, now I might be pushing some buttons and
hmm
might be a little bit on the dark side. But I talked to that. Even through talking to the marketing team, like I said, like, are you sure? Like, should I do this? And I'm thinking worst case scenario, they're just going to say, someone's going to say, no, I can't use it. But
mm
like, no, I think you'll be fine. They're like, don't worry about it. Like, it's not too far based on everything you have. I'm like, there's people who are going to enjoy it. Do it. I'm like, okay. So it's like, I bought it and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going forward. I'm like, I loved it enough that it was like, I had that, this is something I want to do. I want to push forward with this and I'm going to fight for this logo and this design and this trademark and this website page if I had to.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about compliance now. And that's what I really wanted to get into with you is, well, first of all, can you tell me about who your compliance department is? Are you associated with a broker dealer that you have to go through a compliance department, or who do you talk to?
Yeah, so I have to go through a compliance on our mutual fund side. So the brokers that I'm dealing with, I have to get all approval from them on everything for social media, the website, everything I do. They have to approve everything. Otherwise, I get a slap on the wrist, which I've done before, but we won't talk about those times. But it's just, I everything gets approved through them, so they know what's going on. Because at the same time, I'm a representative of their business. So I get it. Like, I get
Mhm.
why you have to be within that realm of, okay, I have to be a professional and represent their business and what they want to do. So I do have that. And I talk to them on a once a week, at
Mhm.
least, I'd say.
So you come to them with this idea. How do you present it?
I crossed my fingers and no, I think a lot of it was, okay, I knew I went with the full website, which was probably, I pushed it a little bit. Like,
Mm,
usually it should have been once we had the logo and I knew I wanted to change everything, I probably should have presented it to them.
mm,
We did the whole design of the website, didn't activate it and said, here, approve it. And it was kind of like, okay, I hope they understand what we're trying to achieve. And initially it was, okay, I'm not going to sink my initial thought was, I don't want to give them too much information and sink my boat. I'd rather them look at it and see what happens. And
And then, yeah.
usually, because I've done other ones, like when I did Buchner Financial Planning, it was like approved within like 48 hours. There was no
Mhm.
issues. This one I sent through, and then I think like 4 days went by and I hadn't heard anything. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is like, oh God, this is getting bad, because I'm like, okay, they're upset about something. Like, and then I sent an email follow up of like, what's happening, like
Yeah.
what's going on. And even they were like, well, we're talking to the higher ups in the business to make sure. And I'm like, okay. So then that's where I then explained everything. I'm like, I want to make sure you guys are clear of what we're trying to do here. I
Mhm.
know prick free financial advice by itself can come off inappropriate. And
Mhm.
I get that, but we're trying to push it. But the whole premise was, because we had Cactus there in there, that it shows, okay, it's a play on words with the term of Cactus as the company, with the prick free. Do you understand what I'm trying to do? I'm not trying to be this bad person trying to insult other people. I'm trying to say, hey, this is something where financial advice should be fun and it shouldn't hurt, and we shouldn't have all these little pricks bugging us all the time and pain points throughout our life. It's like, this should be easygoing, and get rid of it so you can sleep at night and not be
Mhm.
regretful and not have anxiety and all these things. And then I think when I sent them that, it was then within 24 hours, they're like, you're good. Like, you're
Wow.
perfect. I'm like, okay, we made it. We made it through the hurdle.
We're through. I love this approach of kind of asking for forgiveness instead of permission in a way, like you just
Yeah.
go with it, send it to them. And then I can just imagine you kind of being like gaining this reputation with them.
Well, I've gotten better. I forget at times. I push things out. Like I think like most people, if they do content creation, an idea pops in your head and you just want to get it out. And you just because it
Yeah.
works with what's happening at this time or what you just saw, or like a meme or something popped up and it's like, okay, I need to get this out right away. So it's like, yeah, I do push it at times where I'll put it out and then I'll send for forgiveness. Like, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, but I need to get it now. I can't wait 24 hours because I'll miss that wave.
Mm.
But I also know what I can and can't do, I guess is the right way to say. I know where it's like, okay, this might be too far. This is okay. Like they're not going to be upset at me because I don't think I've ever really been rejected by them by any means. I think there's always
Mm.
little tweaks here or there, or okay, well, how did you get this? But I've never had a full out, nope, can't do this.
Okay. Well, this is something that quite a few advisors have talked to me about as a marketer. How do I get through the things I want to get through with my compliance department? And a lot of them just truly haven't developed a relationship with the compliance department. And I always say,
Mhm.
your compliance department actually does want to see you succeed and they want to see you doing things that the way that you want to do them. So when you send something, are you sending something to the same person every time, or does it go to just different people within the department based on kind of whoever is available?
It goes to the same person, like it's still a compliance department, but it's the
Mhm.
same person that always replies back to me with
Mm,
approval for it. It's always the
mm,
same person. So I know who it is. So I know even when there's a delay or something goes on because they've got all the other compliance they have to do with everyone else. Eventually, yeah, I just start shooting that specific person an email saying, hey, what's going on? Like, sorry, we're tight on timelines. Like I've had a couple times with our podcast episodes where I'm like,
mm,
I'm tight on timelines because we're so delayed that like, is there any way you could push this through a little bit quicker? Or
mhm,
is there some kind of issue we need to address or fix that? So we do build that little bit of rapport. I think they know my email at this
mhm.
time. So they know when my stuff pops up, what's going to come their way at the same time. But they've been really good about understanding what I'm trying to do and what am I trying to achieve and what I'm doing with my business, which helps a lot.
Do you feel like over time it's been easier to get them to approve things quickly as you've kind of figured out what they're going to flag and they've kind of figured out who you are and what you're trying to accomplish?
Yes, I think I've pushed the envelope a few times, right way to say it, because I pushed the envelope with, well, I thought the website was the first one where I kind of pushed it. The second time where I learned, okay, where's the boundary line was my podcast of no pricks allowed. So
Mhm,
then that one was another little flag they had, but that one we were able to find an easy solution that worked for
yeah,
both of us. So that one worked out. And I think the other time was a podcast episode, which was CYA, where I used the A word about 10 times in the podcast. So I got a little bit of a to that one. So I learned, okay, where's the boundary? What can and
mhm,
can't do? I think that was the worst, but usually anything in terms of financial advice or giving out advice, I've just learned, okay, what can I say and can I say? I can talk about a product and give
mhm.
factual advice about the product, but telling a blanket statement of everyone should invest in a certain fund and you're going to get a certain return. I'm like, can't do that. Like ever. I would never do it because it doesn't work for everyone. I can't say
Right.
what a 20-year-old works for a 65-year-old. So why would I ever say that? But I can just talk about generic, why should you invest or emotional connections of why investing. It's never an issue.
Mm. Tell me a little bit about the compromise on the No Pricks Allowed podcast. What did they have a problem with and what was the compromise?
That one they had a problem with because in that case, it was just the title because it didn't
Mhm,
have the website has the cactus on there on the front page. So they understood the connection. Whereas the website, it was just no pricks allowed. There
mm,
was no cactus in there, anything of the sort. So their concern was because their name was still on at the end because I had to add compliance at the end
mm,
and the whole normal lawyer spiel at the end of this is not financial advice and it had their company name. It was like, oh, this is too far.
mm,
So their compromise was we could keep the name, we could do it because they understood what I was trying to do and the brand. The only thing we had to do, which was an easy solution, was just it was at the intro every time they say, or anytime in social media where they say the No Pricks Allowed podcast, we had to add from Cactus. That was it.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, that sounds like a super easy.
Yeah, it was a headache after we recorded like the first 4 episodes because we didn't know about it. And then I
Yeah.
sent the first one to compliance and they're like, oh, you got to change this. And it was like, oh, we have to go back and fix this little thing. Like, but it was like, oh, we'll fix it. It was like, but that was the headache. And now we just know enough. It's like, it's there. And they have it even in their notes of add from Cactus every single time.
Mm.
So it's no headaches.
Okay. I just love this approach that you keep taking. I'm just going to record 4 episodes and then send it to them. And hopefully they say yes.
It works. Like, I don't know. It was that I just think I've learned with compliance, they're not out to hurt you. And I don't know where that came from, that they're out there to hurt you. And like, compliance is there to cover CYA in terms of the business. So I know in the end, it's like, okay, they're not there to stop me for what I'm doing, but they also need to understand what am I trying to do at the same
Mhm.
time. And
Mhm.
I think, yes, there's that notion of, okay, I am pushing the boundaries outside of what normal financial advisors do in terms of marketing. So
Mhm.
I knew it would be a little bit of a touch and go, but I think it varies on the company, as evil as it
Mhm.
is to say, because there is one company who will not accept my website, like my email address. They outright refuse to put it and change it because it would be on their documentation that gets sent out to clients. At the bottom
Mm.
would be my name and my email address, and they just outright refused. And it's
Mm.
one company that does it, and they strictly said in their email back, it's like, we cannot do it because it's unprofessional. Was
Mm.
there
Mhm.
one? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, but no one else has complained about it. Like, I've
Mhm.
never had advisors ask me, he's like, well, what do clients say about it? I'm like, I've never had a client complain. Like, I've got
Yeah.
80-year-old clients and came up with a new name and I've emailed them from the new email address and they just reply. Like, there's never been a headache. They've never like batted an eye at anything I've done with it. They're like, oh, okay. Like, this
Yeah.
is what I'm emailing. Sure. Like,
I can imagine. I mean, anyone who does have a problem with it, you don't want them to be a client anyway. Right.
exactly. Exactly.
So, to kind of round this out, how have you seen business change since you implemented this brand? Have you seen an uptick in discovery calls? Have you seen an uptick in the clients coming to you that you really enjoy working with? What's changed?
It 100% an uptick in the clients I want to work with has helped drastically because they understand the brand, they see the humor in it and see who I am personality wise. They're like, yes, I want to work with you. So I said, even the clients I've pulled in, I think we laugh half the time in our client meetings
Yeah.
because and they're the ones making the comments to me and I'm laughing and then we're
Yeah.
just feeding off of each other, which just makes it even worse. But I'd say, yeah, the clients that come in, they're the perfect ones I want to work with. Like, the
Mm.
personality is there. They understand what I'm trying to do. They understand, okay, we can have a little bit of fun and joke and enjoy it. 100% is there. I think like anything else, the business in terms of how fast clients are coming to me, it like anything else, it's not a magic button. I didn't come up
Mhm.
with this and all of a sudden, bam, went front page Google and on news. And no, it's still that slow build up, but I know I'm hitting the right people and it's slowly working its way through of what I need to
Mm.
do.
Mhm. Well, I just love this, Aaron. And I think that you're just paving the way and kind of giving other advisors permission to be themselves in their brand and their
Well,
marketing. And so I just
don't
love
do
that
that
about
because
you.
then they're gonna send out stuff to their compliance and like, well, just look at what he did. He did this. His is worse. I'm not doing that. Like, well, actually, if people want to use me as an example, go for it and go look what you could do. Like, it got approved. Like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
understood what I was doing, what I was trying to get. They understood it. Only one company did it, and I look and
Mhm.
go, okay, that's just who they are, and that's
Mhm.
who they're gonna be. But I think most of the time you work with compliance, they understand it. They just want to cover their own tail. They don't
Yeah.
want to stop you from being you and putting your brand out there and being unique and different. They just want to make sure, okay, A, you're not saying something that could get them and yourself sued. And then B, they just want to make sure, okay, does it still fit within their brand? Are you still
Mhm.
within their realm? I guess I'm lucky enough with my one. They're open enough to the idea and just having the conversation helps. It's like, it's not just shut the
Mhm.
door. It's okay, well, what's the issue? And even if they came back with prick free was an issue, I'm like, okay, well, what's the issue? What's the problem? How can we figure this out? Because
Right.
I knew there'd be a solution somewhere in there that they'd be like, okay, we get it.
Right. Well, Aaron, I think this has been really insightful. I really appreciate how much you were willing to share with us. If people wanted to go and learn more about you, where's the best place to do that?
At the website, prickfree.com. It's all on there. And then on that social media, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Threads, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on everything, just not Twitter or TikTok. So I'm not on, but I'm out there on each one usually it's under my name, Aaron Buchner, on each one.
All right. Well, I'll link to those in the show notes and then the podcast as
Uh,
well. You have the No Pricks
yeah.
Allowed podcast that I'll link
Yeah.
as
No
well.
Pricks Allowed podcast. I always forget about that one.
I know there's just so many things.
There's so many things.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron. Really appreciate you coming on today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. If you're eager to market your business in a way that feels good and actually gets results, sign up for the Finance Marketing Podcast newsletter in the show notes so you never miss another episode. If you liked what you heard today, please be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening app and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you back here next Friday.